who made it.
All right, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy, and you back again with another video. This one is a little bit different because I'm actually sitting here getting ready to edit some footage for another video when I came up with the idea for this video. Five things that I think that you should know before you jump into the Harley game or the Harley culture. Could also be a good word for it. So I just jotted down a couple quick notes, man. I wanted to share with y'all as I kind of had just kind of sharing my experiences with being a first time Harley owner with you as well. So number one, I would say get the bike that you want. You definitely don't want any. You definitely don't want any like buyer's remorse, or you don't want any second guessing anything. Like, you should definitely always make sure that you get the bike that you want in the beginning. I know some people say it's better to start off with a smaller bike or something like that, but honestly, I think you should go with what you feel comfortable with. I think Tiffany Renee is a perfect example of somebody who they may have told, hey, that bike's too big for you, etc., etc. But I mean, she gets out there and she rides the hell out of her motorcycle. So salute to her. If you want a bagger, go for a bagger. Me personally, when I thought about buying my first Harley, it was basically um, just down to the simple. For me, it was down to the simple choice of road glide or street glide, based off of the looks. I know that I wanted music, uh, and that was the biggest thing. The bags, of course, and then music. Both those bikes have music pretty much stock. You can upgrade from there, but to lay the framework or the groundwork, for your build, then you want to make sure that you get the bare bones of what you want to go. You don't want to. I guess you wouldn't buy like a Road King or like a Softail and then want to try to make it into an actual bagger or something along those lines. So just always get what you want off top, uh, and then it'll make it to where you're happy with your purchase, as well as not having any buyer's remorse. Also, I would say make sure you shop around. Just a caveat. This is like under number one. When I'm saying get the bike that you want, also shop around. If you have multiple dealerships in your area within, I don't know, 60 miles, 100 miles, shop around, see what the price differences are. That way you make sure that you get the best deal. Check the blue book value versus, what the asking price is for the bike. You don't want to pay too much over what the bike is actually worth. Uh, they do hold their value pretty well. So, I mean, I'm not saying that it's going to be $20,000 in difference on the price. And then we've all seen what like the MSRP for new bikes are versus what they're actually selling for. So just do your research, and make an informed purchase that's gonna work for you. Number two, if you're gonna buy a used bike, like I did, uh, make sure that the proper inspections are done. Uh, I did run into quite a few issues where like recalls weren't taken care of. Possibly the maintenance on the bike wasn't necessarily done before the bike was resold. I haven't had any major issues, just you know maintenance stuff like possibly like your three-hole change, your brake fluid, your clutch fluid if you have a hydraulic clutch, things of that nature. Ask for the service history, things of that nature. Uh, and that way you know exactly what it is that you're getting. Uh, so when I got ready to get my bike, there I saw my bike that I did end up getting, which is Shotty Red, the Velocity Red Sunglow Street Glide. But there was another bike that I was about to settle for. It was a little bit older, a little bit cheaper, but after the price of them gonna have to install the bags, well, not the bags, install the bars and some other things that I wanted, then I was gonna be coming out about the same price wise. So it was like, if I'm going to pay same price, then, or if I'm gonna come out about the same on the price, then I might as well just get this other one. Well, thing is, when I was going back and looking over the paperwork, the price of the protection plans, the ESPs, were different. And that wasn't something I really caught until afterwards. All I knew that price wise, I probably should have done a little bit more research on, like I said, the blue book value of the bike versus, uh, what the asking price of the bike was. Like I said, but because I got the bike that I want, there's no buyer's remorse or anything like that. It's just something to be cautious of. Uh, Mileage, low miles versus high miles. Uh, I would say, or most people would say, like with a car, the lower miles, the better miles. With the bike, when I was doing the research, it was kind of like higher miles is typically like kind of better because you know that the bike hasn't been sitting, parts haven't been dry rotted, etc., etc. In hindsight, because I did buy my bike with about 40, between 44 and like 46,000 miles on it. Uh, so of course I've been riding it, I've been putting in the miles, and now I'm sitting at about what 50, a little over 50. I think we might be close to like 50,000. Excuse me, about 50,200 miles or whatever. So the 50,000 mile service is the most expensive service because it does have the front forks being rebuilt, steering neck bearings redone. This price may vary on different bikes, but for the Grand American Touring bikes with the front fairing on there, it can run a pretty penny, especially with the Street Glide. So you're looking at maybe $1,600 or so. So if the bike was, lower miles, say I had bought a bike with maybe 20,000 miles, then I would have been further away from that 50,000 mile service. Uh, or if it was one with 18, or even one with 30,000 miles, that'd be 20,000 miles away from that major service. Versus buying one at 45, 46, and then 4,000 miles later, then it's time for the big 50K service, which is going to run you, from what I was told from a dealership today, roughly about $1,600. So there's more money that you having to spend. I don't believe, from what I was told, I don't believe that it wouldn't be covered under the ESP that I got, because that was for like breakdowns, versus if I would have had one with maintenance, I believe they told me, then I wouldn't have had to really come out of pocket for like that whole service. So that's just something else to be mindful for. The higher the miles, you're probably going to be closer to that higher mileage service, which is a little bit more in depth. Like I said, since I got the bike, no regrets, man. I love riding it, everything like that. But had I known that in 4,000 miles I was gonna have this big service, then I might have waited on a couple things. Maybe waited on the radio or the music, or other modifications or things that I did to the bike, because I had this big service coming up. Apparently, or obviously, it's not like at 50,000 miles your bike is just going to fall over flat. It's just a good service interval for where some major things need to be addressed. So, while I put the money to the side to get ready to pay for this $1,500-$1,600 service, I'll still be riding my bike. However, just something to be aware of, that had I been told or done my research, then it would have been a whole lot more. At least I would have been aware. That's what I'll say. I'm not saying that if the salesperson or the service people would have been like, "Look, man, you're buying this bike with 46,000 miles on it, 50,000 services coming up, and like 4,000 miles, bro, and that service is like almost $2,000." Would that have changed my mind about buying a bike? Probably not, because it was the color I want. Had a lot of added on things on the bike that have it cosmetically where I want it to be. But those things are simply just that, cosmetic. So keep that in mind. On the mileage, low mileage versus high mileage. Aftermarket, I would say the aftermarket is your friend. TCMT is an aftermarket company found on Amazon. You got Evan Black, you got Hogworks, you got a lot of whole lot of aftermarket companies. A lot of them are even sold inside of the Harley Davidson dealerships. I think I've seen Chromeworks, and some others. So that's another thing to be aware of. You know, you don't have to go through the dealership for everything. Some of these things you can buy offline yourself. If I avoid a little bit of a markup, but just like anything else, you want to. Well, I want to pay the best price. You know what I'm saying? If I don't want to overpay for something, if I'm not gonna have to, if I don't have to overpay for it, then I'm not gonna overpay for it. So that's just me, though. This is nobody trying to tell anybody how to manage their money or count anybody's pockets or anything like that. It's just that I'm not a fan of overpaying for something. I'm pretty sure that I live in the same world and economy that y'all live in, and there's no reason to be overpaying for things when other things are getting higher and we cannot control them. So And the last thing that I would say would be going to a reputable shop. Now, whether that is your local Harley dealer, if it is a independent shop, either one. It's hell if it's your buddy that went to MMI. You know what I'm saying? Whoever it is that you have or you decide to have work on your bike, like you definitely gotta find somebody that's reputable and they know what they're doing. Uh, if they don't know what they're doing, they could potentially mess something up on your bike, or have you paying for parts more than once, or paying for labor more than once. A lot of this stuff is not expensive. One of the upgrades that I'm planning on doing after I get my 50K service out the way, and probably some other things, I'm thinking about doing a stage 2 torque cam set. So I'm thinking about going with the SNS kit. It's about $1,400 just for the parts. So I've been doing the research, debating on if I'm gonna do it myself or I'm gonna take it to a shop. Uh, it's important that I find the right shop if I choose to do a shop, to make sure that I'm not going to be overpaying for anything, or not necessarily overpaying for anything, but I'm paying somebody that knows what they're doing, so that I don't have to come back and revisit the same thing again. Make sure that they're able to tune the bike or dyno it or whatever it is that they need to do. Um, yeah. So make sure you go to a reputable shop. In hindsight, like I said, no regrets. Some of these things, I mean, I've personally experienced. Other things are things that I'm about to experience. If you have tips on any of these things that you may have experienced, or want to chime in any of the things that you would tell like a first time Harley owner, then or somebody that's contemplating buying a Harley for the first time and joining the Harley gang slash culture, then drop them down in the comments below. I would love to read through them, and I'm sure other people would love to have this firsthand knowledge. If they're depending, or if they're contemplating or thinking about getting a Harley for the first time. Uh, a lot of people would say Google it, but I'm a firm believer that talking to people uh, gets you better results, or something along those lines. Like actually talking to people, asking their opinions, etc., etc. I mean, it is the equivalent of the reviews, but it's from people that you know, can see, can touch, things of that nature, man. So the people that I have ran into been very, very, very receptive. Shout out to my boy New York. He's been very open with the knowledge and sharing the tips and things like that. I met B White HD here through YouTube, very helpful. Kelly B Gliding, very helpful. Um, and we all brought together by the love of these bikes. You know what I'm saying? And getting out there on two wheels and doing what we love, riding, man. So don't be scared. Reach out to myself. Uh, like I said, New York in your city, B White HD, or Kelly B Gliding. I'm sure it's a whole lot more, but those are the ones that I can for sure tell you that have been open arm. You know what I'm saying, probably didn't even really have to ask for no advice. They just kind of offered it up, and that's dope to me. You know what I'm saying, so that other people might not make other mistakes, or just how people have that additional knowledge. So each one teach one, all that good stuff. So appreciate y'all watching this video. Like I said, I know it's not a riding video, but I do think it's filled with information that could be beneficial to you or someone that you know that may be thinking about buying a Harley for the very first time. So thank y'all for watching, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Gone.